Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Dana, the CEO of Hemlane, and I were about to wrap up our video recording session for today. And Dana, you said something off camera that I want you to explain. You haven't explained it to me yet, but when you said it, I was interested. So I figured the viewers probably would be too. So in this video, can you explain a tenant reward program?
Yep, tenant reward program for paying rent. So this is something that Hemlane's been looking into quite a bit. So I wanted to get your feedback on it. So today there's basically two ways for tenants to pay rent. One, automated in an online system, actually kind of three. The second would be like a non-traditional property management system like Venmo and Zelle, which there's quite a few problems with that once you get into it, of partial payments and certain things that you don't want to deal with. And then the third is just very traditional. You can do check, money order, cash, obviously tons of pros, tons of cons that we can talk about with offline. And the best way to do it is obviously through a property management portal, because it will require full payments only. We'll have automatic late fees, all of that stuff in there. But a lot of times there are tenants who are like skeptical and you want them to have a delightful experience. And so there's this new concept of, tenant rewards, where just like with a credit card, when you pay things with your credit card, you get rewards and cash back. Be the same thing with tenants paying for their rent collection online. If they pay online through one of these portals, then they'll get, $10 to Walgreens or $10 to Sephora. Every so now and then there's cash give back, certain things like that. And so I wanted to hear, Dion, what your thoughts were on that and having some sort of rewards program for tenants, what you think potential risks are, what you think is great about it. So would just kind of love to hear, you had never heard of it. I had heard of it, but it's become a little bit more, it was very like a year ago, it was something people started discussing. And now it's something that you start seeing property management platforms like us look into, of saying, hey, we should have a rewards program. So want to hear from you on it.
So there might be an ageist idea here. If you're closer to my age, I think people prefer the stick to the carrot.
Mhm.
Right? We have late fees. It's always been this way. There are some people who are creative and go, your rent is $1,000 if it's paid by this day. If it's paid after, your rent is $1,500. So it's not a late fee. It's literally a different rent if it's paid late. All kinds of ways. I have a three-tiered system for not having a late or missing rent payment in the decade.
Okay.
The first one is being very clear that the day after the grace period, I'm serving an eviction notice as a favor to the tenant so that they can then go have access to rent relief programs.
Mhm.
That stopped most of the tenants. The other thing is you can absolutely pay it late. Here's your late fees. This is how it works. It's in the lease. And the third is explaining the math of time. If the tenant pays their rent a week late, they normally have 4 weeks to get the rent together for the next month. And since we're a week late, now they're only going to have 3 for the next month. So we're setting them up for failure. Having that
Yep.
conversation, it's kind of the stick. Here's all of the negative things that can happen. I like the idea of a rewards, and the younger generations, right? The Z, millennial, even the younger Gen X are mostly about the credit card reward systems, the points. I mean, Stephan really harps on that. I use one credit card for cash back. I'm very simple.
Mhm.
So I think it's people closer to my age might not be so much into the points, but the idea of a reward system, I do like it. But here would be the question, and this is what we'll wrap the video up with. I ran a CDL school for the last decade, and part of our payments could come in through credit cards. And like a lot of businesses, we offered a cash discount. If you pay in cash, you can take this much off. Now, a lot of people just assumed if you take cash, you're giving a discount because you're not going to pay taxes, and that's not what happened. We wanted to pay taxes because that qualifies you as a business for all kinds of other things like business loans. It was because a credit card has a fee.
Yep.
And so we didn't even take, I think, American Express because it had a huge fee associated with it. If we do a rewards program and it's paid on time, paid in full, here's $10 towards Walgreens or so many things. Where does that money come from?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, with the credit cards, you're right. Like on Hemlane, we have it where the tenant can pay the credit card fee. So you're not paying it, the tenant is paying it. Now, we try to incentivize them to pay with a bank account because it's more likely then they actually have the money and they don't get too far behind on rent and then have all these credit card fees later on. So the first thing is you can pass that credit card fee to the tenant if you allow for credit card payments. The default is not to allow for it. But then the second thing is that they can actually do a bank transfer. So there's no fee for you, obviously on Hemlane. Those payment processing fees, a lot of property management softwares will charge you for payment processing for online payments. We actually don't. So we don't charge you at all. That's free for you to go through as part of our subscription there. And then what happens is the tenant has their, they can pay with their bank account. And then through that, they get rewards through these third-party partners that you work with, like Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, Sephora, Starbucks, all the whole gamut.
Nice. I like it. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing a concept I actually hadn't thought of or heard of before. If somebody has questions, Dana, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to hemlane.com if you want to learn more about our property management. If you have specific property management questions or anything about tenant rewards, email me at Dana, DANA at hemlane.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you are interested in using Hemlane, you can use the words Dion Talk for 20% off your first year. I look forward to our next video in a few weeks where we talk about the top 3 reasons why a person should self-manage.
Great.
Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.